Hey y'all, and welcome to Brawl. My name is Brian, and Gill shuts down Jasmine Crockett and destroys what little credibility she had left after her ridiculous speech in front of the entirety of Congress. Let's dive in.
To have the sitting Attorney General go on, and I'm gonna call it faux news. I know some of y'all love it, but it's fake to me. To have her go on Fox News and to then decide that she wanted to send a threat to me, it was wrong. Because here it is, she is the highest law enforcement agent in this country, and people are watching and they are consuming this information and they are believing that simply because I decided that I wanted to exercise my right to free speech, which I am not abridged from doing, that she then wanted to then politicize something that should not be politicized. I don't like Elon Musk. I'm gonna say it 50,000 times. I don't like him. I don't like that he going out there and he firing people. I think that he's a crook because somehow the rest of us can't sit around and get whatever federal contracts we want. The rest of us can't sit around and get law enforcement and get them somehow ordained as federal law enforcement to protect him. The rest of us can't get our dealerships protected by the federal government. That is somebody that is operating above the law. The fact that there are other sitting members that have received letters of threat from this new DOJ tells me that they are about retribution and they are not about following the law. The reason that our party, or I won't even say our party, our country is torn apart is because we can't even agree on right versus wrong.
I now recognize the gentleman for Texas for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for having this incredibly important hearing where we can better understand the systematic abuses of the Biden administration for the past 4 years. Our colleagues on the other side want to encourage us to move on from a federal government that was weaponized against the American people that they are supposed to represent and protect. Move on after our FBI was targeting parents who were concerned that their children were being indoctrinated into radical transgender ideologies in their public schools. Move on after the left weaponized the federal government to create a mass censorship industrial complex violating our First Amendment rights. We're supposed to move on after they targeted Catholic Americans, traditional Americans, and labeled them violent extremists. We're told that there's a problem that we can't agree on what's right and wrong, and I agree, that is a huge problem. It's a problem that the other side of the aisle can't recognize that censorship is wrong. It's a problem that the other side of the aisle can't recognize that it's wrong for the FBI to target parents concerned about what they're learning in their schools. It's a problem that the other side of the aisle can't recognize that it's a problem whenever our federal government goes after Christian Americans. That's a serious problem, and that's something we should be able to agree on, but unfortunately, we can't. We saw unprecedented levels of weaponization under the Biden administration against the same American people that it was supposed to be looking out for. Christopher Wray created an internal memo that slandered traditional Catholics as anti-Semites and white supremacists. It suggested that the FBI monitor traditional Catholics and even set the stage for FBI informants entering places of worship. At the same time, remember, this was happening while Joe Biden was, of course, facilitating the mass immigration of illegal criminals into our country. Not keeping us safe in that instance, that's for sure. Thankfully, and I think the American people are very thankful that we finally have a president and an head of the FBI and head of the DOJ who actually represent us and want to protect us.
What a breath of fresh air. I'm thankful for Gill, but after the rant that I just heard, I swear I lost a few brain cells here. Seriously, I remember how low the bar used to be when AOC came on the scene. Remember, folks, make Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez bartend again, okay? I remember just how low the bar used to be. And then Jasmine Crockett comes along and decides to limbo underneath the bar. It's a race to the bottom with the entirety of the Democrat Party, and they're out here complaining about Elon Musk. Well, yeah, maybe when Elon Musk finds out that, oh, USAID is in fact basically an arm of the Democrat Party and basically funds all their friends and family members using your taxpayer dollars. Yeah, and she's also talking in code. She is using that to raise money. She is using that to push her brand. When the reality is, she was educated in a private school system. She doesn't talk like this normally. She is putting on a front. She's acting. And I'm really tired of having actors in politics, unless their names are, of course, Ronald Reagan. But acting in politics just gives off this aura of authenticity, and you just throw it out the window, okay? We know you're acting. We know you're complaining about nothing. We know you're tilting at windmills. And Jasmine Crockett is out here complaining about Elon Musk basically shutting off the gravy train. But Brandon Gill says absolutely nothing incorrect about the Biden administration. The reality is, Catholic Christians, Catholic Americans, were monitored by the FBI because they were pro-life. All right, I'm a Protestant. I don't really care about the Pope in any way, shape, or form. I mean, I'm glad they've got a new one. I hope it's a change from the last one, but I'm very Protestant. I don't really care about this. But Catholic Christians who are pro-life and share 99% of my similar values, they were out there quite literally being persecuted by the FBI. That's a problem. And the Democrats did nothing. They did nothing. They sat by and let it happen. Then, when American parents realized, oh, what is this garbage in our school's curriculum? What are our children actually learning? Why is there all these LGBT books in the school library for minors? Okay, not just minors, elementary school kids. And this is happening across America, by the way. The left-wing agenda has quite literally permeated into every single local school district that you can think of. It's awful what they have done to kids' minds. And then their ideas were, well, let's throw a pride parade for the children. Brandon Gill is not pointing out just a list of grievances. He is pointing out the fact that the American voters' rights were quite literally, the American rights, not just the voters, but American rights were stripped from parents. They were stripped from Catholics. They were stripped from people who were using their First Amendment rights to stand up and say, I disagree with this, things need to change. No wonder Donald Trump won all 7 swing states, because this nonsense just keeps on getting worse and worse and worse, and the American people don't like this. Only a small population of the Democrat Party even thinks this is a good idea. Under the Biden administration, what ended up happening is that the FBI and CIA, the NSA, pretty much anyone that's considered deep state, which, by the way, at a certain point, I gotta stop dropping the air quotes, because that's a reality. These things happen. The deep state does exist. It's the bureaucratic state that doesn't receive any major oversight because of this odd catch-22 that, oh, well, if you trim the fat of the federal bureaucracy, well, you make it less likely for people to come in and, work the jobs. I understand that's a problem at the state, local, and even federal level, but at a certain point, you need someone from outside that bubble to come in and say, you are wasting taxpayer dollars, you need to go. You are wasting funds in X, Y, and Z departments. This can be standardized and made much faster. That's what the Department of Government Efficiency is supposed to do, and for some reason, people thought it was a good idea to let Jasmine Crockett talk about, and by the way, one final thought here. Jasmine Crockett talking about fake news, please, don't talk to American people about what real and what isn't, because the average American is really good at realizing that most of what politicians say is a bunch of bull crap. And so, yeah, don't tell us that, don't tell us you're wetting our backs and calling it rain, okay? We know better. We've seen it all. We've heard it all. Come on, folks. The bar is so low for the Democrat Party. Brandon Gill is calling it out correctly. And to make matters worse, remember, folks, the Biden administration did trample upon your inalienable rights. That's the truth of the matter. And instead, Jasmine Crockett thinks it's a good idea to complain about Elon Musk. Give me a break. Folks, my name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on Brawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. And until then, y'all have a good one.